Of course. It's Zarek from Real Chiropractic Dynamics, and I'm here today with a boss lady, a boss chiropractor. We're here in Willow Chiropractic, and we're just wrapping up an MLS seminar. And Destiny here is doing her first MLS seminar, and you're pushing your comfort zone a bit. How's it going for you?
Well, I have to say, 25 years in practice. Oh, no, you're not going to hold it for me.
No,
20,
not for the whole time.
20. Now you've strengthened it. 25 years in practice, and I have to say I have to unlearn an awful lot of stuff. So it's going to be a lot easier for me, and I think it's one of the reasons why I've done it is that now that I'm more of a vitalistic chiropractor, I've realized that I actually want to be a chiropractor for as long as I possibly can. When I was mechanistic, I was kind of ready to give up and didn't really care, but now I'm really training hard to hone techniques and make sure I don't injure myself, or and that I'm giving the best adjustment I possibly can.
Well, fair play to you, because you have your way, you have your technique, and you're learning something else. Whereas I know plenty of other chiropractors, and they're stuck in their way, and maybe they're decent enough. But I beg them to come. I beg them, like, come and do this seminar once or twice and see what it's about. And they're like, no, I already have my way. Like, it's going to screw it up. And you're out of your comfort zone doing this now. It feels out of comfort now, but 5 years from now you're going to be running circles around these guys because they weren't wanting to leave their comfort zone, you know.
I think it's really, really easy when you've been doing the same thing for 25 years and it's technically working for you, that why would you want to change it? And why would you want to do anything different? But as Danny was saying, that many professions kind of throughout the decades, they have improved and improved. So surgical procedures have improved, dentistry has improved, even proctology has improved, which I think is probably a godsend for most people. But chiropractic has not, and it's our own fault for being stuck in the comfort zones, thinking that what we were taught at college is the only way. And a lot of us are hurting ourselves and other people. And I feel like that needs to change, that it's an art form and we kind of need to keep mastering that art and don't get lazy.
Well, there's plenty of people that are just stuck in their comfort zone, and it's the ego that won't let them come and be vulnerable, being like, okay, I've never done this before. So this seminar in particular, this is my 12th, right? At some point I'd like to learn Gonstead. So once I graduate, get some money together, I'm going to start going to some Gonstead seminars because it interests me. When I go to those seminars, there's probably going to be people out that have been practicing it for years, or maybe they went to one of the American schools where there's a big Gonstead culture, and I'm going to be there feeling like a fool, like an idiot. But then 5 years later, after that, okay, well now you've mastered some more techniques. But the reason I wanted to get Destiny on here is you've a really, really interesting story. You know, Destiny, she's one of our favorite people on the ChiroEurope circuit, because, as she said, she was very mechanistic. You weren't enjoying practice at all. The patients probably weren't enjoying it as much. You know, Destiny's like that, the rags to riches story. You know, like a drug or a heroin addict who decides that they're going to recover and they leave the streets and then become a multi-millionaire. Like that's the magnitude of her success story. So please tell us a little bit about your journey and the outcomes you've got from that.
Okay. I just want to go back a little bit to the MLS and ego and things. Really tricky for me, knowing that I've been in practice for 25 years and this guy hasn't even started practice and he's coming to bloody well tell me what to do and show me things. So I had to really park that and know that this is my first time of doing things. I know stuff that he doesn't, so I just had to remember that and kind of open myself up and open my heart space to learning things, because I'm actually here to learn. So, and I can't stop learning. And when I was mechanistic, that was a big problem for me because it seemed like there was nothing else to learn. I qualified from the ACC in 1995, so 25 years ago.
I was 2 years old.
Yeah. Are we allowed to like middle finger?
Of course, I encourage it. I encourage middle fingers. You can give it to the camera as well. You say what you want.
I'll be giving it to you a lot, I think, anyway. So I have obviously underpants that are older than Zarek, but so it was really a journey for me. The ACC is now even more mechanistic than ever. The philosophy, subluxation was just a historical kind of thing. I think we watched a video that was about 20 minutes.
We need to drop that word.
Oh,
quackery. We
Quackery.
need to drop subluxation.
Subluxation.
And then maybe the medical profession will accept us.
Yeah,
maybe then we
yeah.
can be real doctors if we would just get rid of that dirty S word.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's ever going to happen, regardless of what language we use, really. And I think that's our own. Anyway, shush.
Sorry.
So, you know, I was on this journey and I loved it in the beginning, and I loved college, and I didn't understand that this was a problem, and I didn't understand that I didn't really know. I hadn't been adjusted until my first year of college anyway, so I kind of didn't really get it. I knew I wanted to be a chiropractor from when I was a kid, so my whole life was geared up to that. And then what I was taught in college seemed to be what was chiropractic, so that's what I did, and all my peer group did it, the BCA did it, everybody, you know, and that was what I knew. But I just constantly felt like there was something missing, and I thought maybe because I'm in this kind of more medical mechanic, no, I didn't even know the word mechanics then, but you know, this more sort of medical model type of doing things, that I needed to express my creativity and my spirituality in some other way. So I started doing lots of other creative things, and it still wasn't it. And, you know, then I got married and that wasn't it. Then had some kids, that wasn't it. And so I stumbled onto NLP and hypnosis, and that was it. Because they decide, you know, we talk about a collective consciousness. We talk about that there's a divine purpose, there's a divine something that's bigger than us. We're a collective consciousness. We are connected in intangible ways. We have the power to heal ourselves without the need for drugs or surgery. Our mind, you know, we can channel healing. So this was my thing, and I thought, wow, this is what I get, and this is what I resonate with. So a process of about 5 years, I started studying a lot of psychoneuroimmunology, and I got well into it, and I was going to close my chiropractic practice because I really felt, and this might sound a little bit snotty, but I really felt like I was a manual laborer when I was in there. And, you know, we had massage therapists, and I was massaging things and I felt like I was this manual laborer, and we had a massage therapist and we had an acupuncturist, yet I was doing all of those things too. I was rubbing calves, I was rubbing E45 in people's buttocks. Not as romantic as it sounds.
45-minute appointments.
45, and sometimes I'd have to make double appointments because I'd be talking, you know, I can talk. And sometimes I was becoming a counsellor as well, marriage guidance counsellor. We were chatting about all kinds of things. Oh, my husband said this and yours said that. Yeah. I'm not, and I don't seem it, but I am an introvert. So by the end of the day, I was so exhausted from this human interaction.
Are you like an extroverted introvert?
Yeah, I'm a kind of a half and halfer. So I'm a bit of a weirdo, one of these ones that are a bit conflicted and confused.
That's why we resonate. It's the same wavelength. Yes.
Yeah, and we'd probably respect each other when it's time to shut up, but maybe. I don't know. So, you know, so that, as much as I loved it in some ways, I could not cope with it, and I was exhausted, I was getting sick. So I was chronic fatigued, my adrenals were screwed. Anyway, I decided I was going to close my chiropractic doors and be a psychoneuroimmunologist.
And what changed from I'm leaving the profession to, okay, finally I'm gonna decide that there's something else in vitalistic chiropractic. So you discovered that, and you've been on that journey, and then you're at the point where you are now, where you're focusing more on preserving your body, technique. Are you able to sustain this for a long period of time? Because a lot of the guys, you mentioned the school that you went to, they graduate, they have the same standard that they had as a fifth year student whenever they've been out for 15 years. You know, so they adjust like trash. I say that in a loving way. The most wonderful, loving, beautiful trash that you could possibly see is how these guys are sometimes adjusting if they do not keep progressing. So when was this shift for you?
Well, I think it was the Syntropy boys that said, you know, you don't have 30 years experience if you've done the same thing every single day. You have one day's experience for 30 years kind of thing. So that really resonated with me because that's where I felt like I was. But like, you've put me forward a bit. I've got sort of other things to say. Well, yeah. So can I say that bit or not? All right. Okay. So once I was going to close my chiropractic doors, I was going to going to be a hypnotist. And then my friend Ray texted me and said, you got to go to this seminar. It's chiropractic. It's amazing, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I don't think so. I don't do that anymore. I believe then there's something bigger and amazing and all this. I don't want to just like do this boring stuff. And he said, well, it's in Barcelona. So if you don't like it, you've got 3 days in Barcelona on the business. So I said, okay, cool. And then I started looking into it, and it's all about this high volume, whack 'em and smack 'em and money grabbing, entrepreneurial, putting, the wool over people's eyes, and it's all about the money. And I was like, yeah, you're not going to change my mind, you old wanker. Can I say that?
Shout out to Mark Hudson.
I love you, Mark. Yeah. So I sat in the audience in the front going, right, change my mind because it ain't going to happen. You're not going to change my mind. And I had my arms crossed, my legs crossed, and I was giving Mark Hudson the stink eye, which is difficult because he's like more stinky eye than anyone in the world, isn't he? So, and I was like, yeah. And he started talking about a source energy and an innate intelligence and a connection.
It sounds familiar.
And that we can heal ourselves as long as, we don't need help. We just don't need interference and all this. And I was like, whoa. And so the penny just dropped then and everything was brought together. And I went through this whole roller coaster of emotions. First, I was just elated because I'd found this thing. And then I was really mad at my peer group and the last 20 years of my career. But, I've come to peace with that now, that was part of the journey and that's okay. And then at the first couple of years, I started working really hard on the philosophy and changing my mindset about my capabilities, my belief in myself, belief in chiropractic, the old hierarchy.
What do you mean looking at your philosophy? What does that entail?
Well, my philosophy before was kind of, okay, you have a fixation here and a pain
I'm going to
here,
crack it.
and I'm going to jump on that because it's, this is a bad thing. Oh, this is evil, this like fixation here. And, it's like a bit like the cancer cell. We got to fight that with all the, vigor and like, that's the war on cancer. It was the same sort of thing. I've got this war on this pain.
And your body's dumb.
Yeah, and your body can't do it, so I have to do it for
I'm
you.
the one saving you. I do the healing.
I do the saving, and I'm going to do everything in my power. So, I'm going to massage and I'm going to beat the shit out of this thing. And you're going to walk out of my practice feeling like you've been 10 rounds with Mike Tyson and, probably haven't really started healing or anything. So once I started working on knowing that this is actually a loving game, it isn't a fight, it's more of a nurturing and it, and I have to turn that to myself because I was the same with myself, for a long time. Oh, you're crap at this, and oh, you're fat, and all this, and all that, and and to be able to do that to yourself, love yourself, you can't really love your patients as well. So that was a really long journey for me.
Only someone who is healed can help heal others.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're stuck in your head and you're having these negative thoughts, that's going to transmit to your adjusting.
Absolutely.
And another good point that you touched on there. People don't realize adjusting can be very easy. Running a practice can be fun, but believe it or not, I know
I'm having a great time.
In my vast years of experience in practice, I'm the authority to tell you this, but you can have fun. Some of these guys are I think they'll adjust until the day they die. They don't want to retire. That's one of the things that actually made me want to be a chiropractor. Is I spoke to Paul Pringle. He's one of the oldest chiropractors in Northern Ireland, and he tried to retire. He's like, yeah, I retired when I was 50 or something, and he lasted like 6 months, and then it drove him crazy, and he said like he'll be in the adjustment room until he dies, the actual art as well, doing the adjustment can be easy if you find the right people and find the right mentors and seek out this information and see how you can preserve your body and give the best possible care to your patients. So your people, your clients,
my people, not
your
patients, people. And I think the retirement thing, when I was mechanistic, I was thinking, right, I don't think I can do this past the age of 55 anyway. I just don't think I can carry on doing these, and I wasn't earning any money. And so, I was seeing one person in 45 minutes and I had the overheads and I had this, it wasn't fun. And it, and I would see probably 6 or 7 people a day. Wow. And that would feel like a busy day because I'd been I can talk, and I've been just like whoa the whole time, and then and then trying to, and people are coming in crisis all the time, because I would say don't come back unless you got pain again.
Oh wow.
I know, how bad is that? don't hurt me, anybody.
But she's the recovering drug addict.
So I'd say, okay, well, see how you go, and if it starts to bother you again, come back. And so these people would then have years with no adjustments or whatever, and then they come back in crisis where they've blown a, or if you say those sort of things, and and they're antalgic, and they're like, and and with true GCC style as well, you're making them do all these like, okay, bend to the right, bend to the left, and they're like, so I was doing this, and it was like felt wrong, and so then they'd come in, and I'd spend 45 minutes trying to put out the fire, and like, all right, I have to create results.
It's your job now to fix that.
It's
they're paying you to fix that problem.
Exactly, and they want it done like that.
Yeah, and if you don't do it like that, then chiropractic didn't work for me.
Yeah, she's shit. She didn't fix that. It's rubbish. So it was depressing, because you never really felt like you'd achieved anything, and you never really felt like any, it was only when they didn't come back that you think, oh well, they must be better then. Like, how? That's just that's like that's like a GP, isn't it, really, in a way? And so hats off to the GPs. They probably don't get an awful lot of
We know you're all watching.
No, but I think that's a real tricky job. Again, they're sort of like between a rock and a hard place, and nobody comes back and goes, oh, that statin you gave me, I just feel so much better now. So, and it's made a change to my life, and how I interact with my children, and so I feel kind of sorry.
And tell us about your practice now.
Okay.
What's your typical day? Okay,
so my typical day, I have an open plan practice now.
You're just in it for the money.
I am. I'm just like I pull the wool over people. I brainwash people, and it's a cult.
It's a cult.
It is a cult.
We say it as a joke.
It is a cult.
It is a bit.
And I don't mind. I love my cult. So I have an open plan practice now, and I walk in, and before I walk in, I leave all my shit at the door, like anything that's happened in the traffic, or anything that's happened at home, or any shit that's going on there. I have a little plant pot that all of that goes in there. I center my heart space before I walk in, just to make sure the energy is there, and I teach my CA to do that too. And then I go in, and I kind of do a few sort of visualizations, but I have 4 tables. I have a CA, and I basically see about 7 people in 15 minutes, depending on how it's going and what the flow is like. I've got kids running around the place. We've got music. I've got a projector and I'm having a little mini party every single day. And I walk out feeling like I could do that all over again. And I kind of lose track of time. I get to the, my last patient there, and I look up at my CA. It's like, is that it? And she's like, yeah, that's it. And because I'm only doing 3 hours at a time, because you really can't do much more than that, because you can't for your focus, then, you've got time to go and do whatever else you want as well, and work on the practice rather than in the practice.
That's amazing. So that was all from basically being in the ChiroEurope cult group squad seminar schedule, and following the instructions of Mark and Lynn. And then so that's more practice management, getting very secure in yourself.
That's the number one, Zarek.
Fixing what you have going on up here.
It's all about self first.
Fixing that.
Don't move on to number 2 or 3 until you've done that.
Okay.
That was hard. That was
makes
the hardest
sense.
bit.
So the Hudson hierarchy starts with the self, then chiropractic, and then you've got like
people.
Like people.
So there's the first 3, self, chiropractic, people. And those, if you don't like people, which was, I think, a more recent sort of discovery, that we're believing in ourselves and we're believing in chiropractic, but we don't believe people are good in general. But so I believe people are good. So, but I did not believe in myself at all. Okay. I had a real kind of major issues about that I was not the chosen one, that I did not have what it took, that I had no capabilities. So we did a lot of I worked with Mark and Lynn for about 3 years. We did a lot of work on that, and now I'm a badass. I'm like Wonder Woman now.
Oh, well, I never knew you when you were in this other paradigm, so I've only ever known you as Destiny the Badass. So that's why it's surprising for me speaking to you now, and and hearing about all this. So now you're at the point with your technique. Tell us a little bit more about that, just to wrap up.
Okay, so I was working a lot on myself and my belief in myself and capabilities, and I think that's always a constant journey anyway. So don't think for a minute that I'm like, yeah, I'm, you know, I'm yeah. And then the next would be chiropractic, and I actually at one point believed that I'm not so sure about chiropractic actually, until I started kind of the vitalistic route. And communications and people. So when I started working on all of that, and I felt like that was starting to get settled, and I'm starting to adjust more and more people. So it went from 7 to now I'm seeing probably more like 40 a day, 50 a day. I'm still only 18 months in, but
that's impressive, even still at that.
Thank
18
you.
months in. If I'm 18 months out of school and seeing 50 people a day, people would think, that's amazing.
I'm quite, I still beat myself up. I should be seeing 100 a day, and I should be blah, 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 and I know I've got to save the planet. So, but it's a constant work, and you know, I'm actually coaching with Stu now. And and Stu.
Love Stu.
Stu's like, are we there yet? Yeah. So you're exactly where you need to be right now. So again, I've come to terms with that. So once I'd got all of that down and I started adjusting all these people, my adjustments did get a lot better, because if you're only adjusting 6 or 7 people a day, that is not a lot of practice, and it's just crap.
Coming to you. Yeah.
And you know, my adjustments, I will admit, were rubbish, and because I did that for 25 years or 20 years. And then when I started adjusting more people, and I knew I had to get faster, but also I couldn't do the same crappy adjustments I was doing just faster. It didn't work like that. I had to hone my techniques and start focusing in on really what was going on, and not just cracking some bones. So that's the journey I'm on now. I've done some syntropy, and now I'm on MLS, and this is just a whole different ball game. After 25 years of just going, right, I've got to bulldoze that joint. Even though I felt like in the last 5 years, I've done it in a very loving, very conscientious heart space. And really talking to my innate, talking to their innate, I still haven't got that subtlety of the technique. So that's what I'm working on now.
Well, we're delighted to have you here. And in the seminar, and thank you for coming and, you know, taking the time out of your lunch break to come and speak to me, and hopefully this inspires someone. If someone's watching or someone's listening and maybe they resonate with the way you were before, and they're just stuck in that comfort zone, and maybe the ego's telling them, like, I don't want to go to that seminar, I don't want to try something new, I don't want to make myself vulnerable, I don't want some arsehole 4th year student who thinks he's God's gift telling me which way to hold someone's head. Like, does he not know that I've been 15 years in practice? What would you say to that person, Destiny?
I would just say, dude, ego down and open up your heart and just learn, because you owe it to yourself. You owe it to chiropractic. It's an art, and it's okay after 25 years to be told there's something better, and it's okay. And you've still got, you know, I've got another at least 25 years at least ahead of me. So I want that next half to be the best it can be. And actually the 4th year student is really handsome and charming and lovely, so I don't mind him telling me what to do anytime.
That's Leo. She's talking about Leo.
Leo's
Leo
cute too.
Humbert from Effects, the French guy. Yes, shout out to Leo. All right.
Leo.
Destiny, thank you very much for sharing your story, and for sure I'm going to get you back on this podcast, video, show, YouTube thing once again, and next time we'll have a couple of jars beforehand.
Awesome.
All right.
Not that we need it.
Thank you for coming.
Very much. Well, thank you for having me, my darling.